angle kit, here we go!
Today is a pretty exciting day. Since we bought this car, like 6-7 months ago, there's one thing I wanted to do is put an angle kit on it. And the car wasn't with us. We were in Texas, the car's here in California with Gail's mom. So we pretty much had to just think about what we're gonna do, buy in advance, make sure we have everything. So when we arrive here, we can have all the parts, prep the car, and drift the winter jam. So I partnered up with this company like last year, I think, because they made super awesome control arms for the E36, which I have a video about that somewhere. You have to find it. But I never had their angle kit because unfortunately I already had a different angle kit before I met the company. So, but for this car, fortunately they are the only company that makes like a super legit kit that people are running and have no problems. So we have the kit, we have the car, we have a box that I haven't even opened. So I'm pretty excited to open the box with you. So let's get the whatever cutting device and open the box. Here we go. Yeah, so the whole kit comes, it's not just an adapter, you're getting the full knuckle, which is awesome. So I went ahead and installed the left side of the car just so I know what I'm doing and I can give you guys, like, in my opinion, one of the easiest way how to install it. But I'm gonna put the camera down and we're gonna start doing the right side. So my car is a little different because the previous owner had a big brake kit and this changes the installation a little bit. For that reason I went ahead and did that side without showing you guys so I know what I'm doing. I think for people with regular brakes, at this point you have to remove the caliper and start removing the spindle. In this case it's similar, it's just instead of removing the caliper from the knuckle itself, I have to remove the caliper from the bracket, from adapter bracket that holds the big brake kit to the bracket and then to the knuckles. So this turned out to be pretty hard, so a very easy trick is to put a wrench, but be careful not to put too much force to break your ratchet. And it's pretty much, yep, now it goes. So normally I would support this with a zip tie or anything, but even these huge brakes are so light and there's an armored line, I'm just gonna let them hang. Alright, so this part will probably be the same on the regular Genesis. We have to go and disconnect the ABS sensor and unbolt 4 bolts that hold the bearing, and this whole thing is gonna come out. And we can just put it on the new knuckle that comes from FDF. Alright, so there are 4 17mm bolts behind holding the bearing. Once we pop those out, this whole thing is going to come out and we can move it onto the FDF knuckle. Alright, so bearing is out. We can put this aside and come back to it later. You probably don't have this step unless you have the same brakes. I have to remove this bracket as well. These will be the bolts that you have to remove in your case because that's how the original bracket is, the original brakes are being held. So you're left with this ABS line. The way this kit works is you have to chop the ABS sensor off. So this is not going to be pretty much needed. You don't need ABS for drifting anyways. So later I'm gonna put a layer of tape just so no moisture and it doesn't go in here and doesn't short it or cause any other electrical damage. So, but for now we're gonna like tuck it in here just so it's not in our way while we work with everything else. All right, next step, we're gonna remove the gem nut from the tie rod and unbolt the whole tie rod.
So now it's going to be a very tedious process, but we have to remove the tie rod from the tie rod end completely. Alright, next step we're going to grab 19 millimeters and we're going to remove the thrust arm, I think that's what it's called, and then the control arm, then the coilover. And that's it. You have the stock knuckle and the control arms removed. This is not going to be needed anytime soon, so I'll just put it away. And we're going to focus on the angle kit. Now we go to the knuckle. Because I have the big brake kit, we have to put the bracket first. So I'm going to tighten this. This is tight enough. I'll tighten everything one more time when it's on the car and everything is installed right before I put the car on the ground. So pretty much in the reverse order, except with the much better, cooler parts. So something that caught me off guard is this end comes with a zip tie with this misalignment spacers, and this misalignment spacers fit the subframe, but it actually, the control arm actually goes like this. So if you look closely, there's a longer end and there's a shorter end. So the longer end goes towards the car and the shorter end goes towards the knuckle. But it's kind of counterintuitive because these spacers only fit on the chassis side. So the solution is pretty simple. You just get these spacers out of here, put them here, and the difference is very minimal. But in my case, I wouldn't be able to put it in the proper caster settings. So I contacted the FDF. Josiah replied instantly on Facebook. If you have any questions, just hit him up. And he straightened everything, and I have that side properly set up, and this side is going to be properly set up as well. This is the first time that you're supposed to do some sort of a pre-alignment adjustment. Like, it goes without saying you have to get proper alignment done after you install such a different suspension. But my way of pre-aligning it is I have 3.5 full turns out of, so I pretty much drive the bearing all the way inside and then do 3.5 turns out on each side on the inner hype joint, and then I do 8 turns out on the outer. So it's fully in, and I do half, 1, half, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And because that one is sideways, it's not super crucial, but I think I'll just go this way. Or actually this way, yeah, and it's close. Again, this is not for you to pretty much hit the track right after this. So that is to get your suspension sort of close. I wouldn't even recommend driving it after this, but you probably can if you did like a good job matching it and then adjusting a proper toe. But it goes without saying, you need proper alignment, and not just, if you just go to regular alignment shop, there's a high chance they're not gonna know what to do and how to align this. So you're probably looking at going to a motorsports oriented alignment or motorsports shop, or if you have a drift shop around you, yeah, go there. They're gonna know what to do. They're gonna know how everything is affected, like what affects what, and they're gonna be able to set your car up for success. Now that you have the control arm pre-aligned, we're gonna take our bolt, we're gonna put the control arm here. Alright, so now we're gonna focus on the, I think it's called the truss arm. I don't know, my E36s, E46s don't have that. So now that we have this, again, this should be similar onto the other side, just to get you to the alignment shop and back, or to the alignment shop. And we're gonna put it there. Alright, so now the time is to connect everything. So when you get your angle kit, all these heim joints, when they're brand new, they're super tight. So don't be afraid to like pull hard. This is pretty hard, and when you install the kit and you try to turn the steering wheel back and forth, even on the jack stands, it's gonna be pretty hard because all these heim joints are brand new and they need a little some time to break in. So now we're gonna adjust our control arms together. The bolt washer, put it through. I use this angle finder for a quick, as a quick way to make sure that both sides are equal. Like, this is not gonna give you a proper caster reading, but it at least can tell you whether left and right side are equal. So I know that that side, as it sits right now on the jack stands and the car is pretty leveled, is 10 degrees. The angle of the strut is 10 degrees. So I'm gonna put my angle finder at the same location as I have before. And it's not a very good angle finder, but if you have a digital one, it's even better. Yeah, so it's about 10 degrees. So that tells me that I have most of the suspension equally set up, which is a good starting point for your alignment guide. One thing I forgot to mention, guys, when I was installing this bracket, FDF sends you this spacer over here because the knuckle, the original knuckle, is thicker here. So when you put your brakes, to avoid the situation where your bolt is sticking out too much, you put this spacer on this side and then you torque your brakes. So in my case, I had to do it at the beginning, but in your case, you're gonna have to do it whenever I put the brake caliper on the knuckle. So one of the last pieces is we have to, I find it easier to remove the tie rod end and then thread it in rather than threading it in while it's in place. So carefully slide this out. Then we have this adapter. It slides, it has threads. One of the threads are right-handed and the other side is left-handed. So when you twist it in and out, it expands the inner tie rod and the outer heim joint, and that's how you adjust toe. So I threaded it in all the way on both sides, and then we can adjust it later. We're gonna put the misalignment spacers, and we're gonna try to wiggle it in here. So if at any point the alignment of this doesn't let you put it in any of the spots on the knuckle, the easier way is you put the bolt in there and try to move it by hand. Because they're new, it's not gonna be easy, but that's what you want. So see how now this fit pretty nicely there. So we have a bolt and a washer. Goes from the bottom. And you have a washer and a nut goes on top. And there you have it, the tie rod end is installed. Now that the outer heim joint for the tie rod is in, we have to tighten the bolts that hold the caster, the Ackerman plates in. By the way, if you have one of these, which is a long Allen key with a round head, definitely makes it easier to get in here and hold these bolts down. So after you snug these bolts with the tie rod heim joint in, I decided to get the tie rod out so I have more space to just tighten these all the way. So I think that's just easier, and this is probably the way to go. but you have to take this off. You have to have this one on first, snug these plates in, get it out, and then tighten them properly. Alright, so this is the back of your wheel bearing. Originally it comes with this connector sticking here. It doesn't really fit with the angle kit, so I just chopped it with a grinder, tried to make it kind of smooth. And now we're gonna take this and put it on the knuckle. Here comes the part when you put your brakes on. In my case, as I said many times, I have to put the bracket first, and then because the bracket goes behind the rotor, otherwise I can't get it out. And now I have to put the caliper. In your case, it's going to be the caliper, and then the bolts are going to go into the knuckle. We pretty much have everything installed. At this point, at least in my case, I didn't tighten a lot of things because I just wanted to make sure that everything fits exactly the same on both sides to make my lemon guy life easier. So now we have to tighten everything, and what I figured works is putting the 18mm on the heim joint, and you have to keep it into a neutral position in the middle so it's not leaning one way or another. And to do that, you put an 18mm on the heim joint there, and then you take an adjustable wrench or a 28mm. I don't have one, so I'm using an adjustable wrench. And pretty much like that, you have to tighten everything, but that's pretty much it.
Alright, so this is how you install an FDF angle kit on a Genesis Coupe. I'm gonna go ahead and torque everything to the manufacturer's specification. After that, I'm gonna schedule an alignment, and after that we can go and test this drift car, and hopefully everything works out. That's it for me today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, if I missed anything, feel free to ask me, and I'll see you guys next time.